This is the second lecture from our online SEM training series. In the next few slides, we'll be discussing about some basic concepts related to SEM analysis. In particular, we'll discuss about measured variables or indicators, latent variables, measurement model, and structural model. Measured variables. Measured variables are the variables that are actually measured in a study. We can refer them as indicators or observed variable. So for example, in a study related to students' intelligence, a questionnaire is used to measure variables such as students' math score, general knowledge score, and English score. These variables are observed variables or indicator variables. When we specify our structural equation model, we specify our observed variables using square brackets. Latent variables. These are intangible constructs that are measured by a set of indicators or observed variables. So with reference to the earlier example related to students' intelligence study, we see that intelligence is a latent variable. When we specify our structural equation models, we specify our observed variables using elliptical boxes. It is widely recommended that we have at least 3 indicators to represent our first order latent variables. The single-headed arrows that point from latent variables towards indicators represent the prediction of the observed variables from the latent variable. SEM analysis will give the coefficient of each of these paths. Measurement model. The measurement model can be understood as the relationship between the latent variables and its indicator variables. So together the intelligence construct along with its indicators is a measurement model. So now let's understand some basic concepts related to structural models. Structural models or path diagrams are used to specify models in structural equation modeling. The general convention to specify the model is that the causal flow is from left to right or from top to bottom. This means that the variables on the left are causing the variables on the right. In the SEM analysis, the straight arrows represent the direct effects. These are generally used between independent variables and dependent variables. The curved arrows represent the correlation between the variables. The ellipses represent the latent variables and the boxes or rectangular boxes represent the observed variables. So here is an example of a structural model. In this example, we have 5 latent variables. Each of these variables have different number of indicators. For example, the latent variable look has got 3 indicator variables. Similarly, the latent variable play has got 3 indicators. The latent variable item has got 2 indicators. The small circles attached with the indicator variables represent the error term associated with that variable. Now, this error term is associated with these variables because we assume that these variables are not measured perfectly. There are 3 variants of structural equation models that we can run. The first one is confirmatory factor analysis. The second one is a path analysis with observed variables, and the third one is path analysis with latent variables. Confirmatory factor analysis is a type of SEM analysis that is used to test measurement models. The term confirmatory implies that the model is specified a priori. Confirmatory factor analysis can be used to test the relationship between items and the latent factors and the correlationship and the correlational relationship among the latent variables. Here is an example of oblique CFA model. Here, all the latent factors are correlated with one another. So here we have 4 latent variables. Economic variable 2 has got 3 indicator items, and economic variable 1, 3 and 4 has got 2 indicators. All these latent variables are correlated with one another. So this is an example of oblique confirmatory factor analysis model. Confirmatory factor, often we hear the term exploratory factor analysis and confirmatory factor analysis together. So let us try to understand what is the difference between confirmatory factor analysis and exploratory factor analysis. As I mentioned earlier, in confirmatory factor analysis, our model is specified beforehand and it is based on the theory, whereas in exploratory factor analysis, no model is specified a priori. Also, it is important to note that EFA is not considered as a member of SEM analysis. This is mainly because EFA includes a class of procedures that are not considered under SEM. For example, the centroids, the principal components, principal access factor analysis procedures. Secondly, the EFA does not require a priori hypothesis about the relations between factors and the indicators, unlike the CFA. Third, the EFA specifies that each latent variable is connected with all the indicators. It means that each factor or latent variable is a weighted composite of all the indicators. The fourth factor that distinguishes EFA from CFA is that EFA requires all the latent variables to be correlated with one another. Another point that distinguishes EFA from CFA is that EFA is an inductive approach. It means that it is a bottoms up strategy. So in EFA we draw conclusions based on specific observation. EFA is a data driven approach, whereas CFA can be understood as a deductive approach which follows a top down strategy where we develop our conclusions based on theory. Lastly, EFA places more restrictions on the relationship between the indicators and factors compared to the CFA. So here is an example of an oblique EFA. This is oblique in the sense that all the latent variables are correlated with one another. This is different from the CFA in the sense that each of the indicators are related to each of the latent factors. So the second variant of structural models is the observed variable path analysis. Once we test the measurement model and confirm that the model fits the data well, we proceed to run the SEM analysis. As mentioned earlier, we have two types of path analysis: the observed variable path analysis and the latent variable path analysis. Observed variable path analysis tests a structural model and looks at the relations between constructs, and in this case the constructs are represented by observed variable. This is analogous to a series of multiple regression. Here is an example of a observed variable path analysis. So here we can see that there are 5 observed variables. We can see that item 1 and item 2 they co-vary. Also we can see that item 3 is getting predicted using item 1 and item 2. Similarly, item 4 and item 5 are independently predicted using item 3. So item 1 and item 2 are exogenous variables. Item 3, item 4 and item 5 are endogenous variables. Once the model is specified, the next step is to run the model. We can also perform the path analysis with latent variables. Latent variable path analysis simultaneously tests the measurement model and the structural parameters. The structural parameters can be understood as the variance terms of the latent variables, the regression weights of the paths, or the variance of the error terms, etc. Latent variable path analysis can be thought of running a CFA and observed variable path analysis simultaneously. Latent variable path analysis looks at the relationship between both the observed and the latent variables. It also looks at the relationship between latent variables and also considers the error terms and the residuals. So here is an example of a latent variable path analysis. Here the latent variables are represented by the ellipses, each represented by a set of observed variables and their associated error terms. So after looking at the variants of the structural models, let us look at the data considerations that we need to keep in mind when we are running the SEM analysis. Sample sizes of important consideration before running SEM analysis. SEM analysis is a large sample statistical technique. Large sample results in less sampling error when compared with small samples. In SEM, the sample size depends on two factors: the complexity of the model and the quality of data. So, by complexity of the model, we mean the more parameters we are required to estimate, the higher will be the greater will be the sample size. Some of the recommendations suggest that the ratio of the sample size to the number of parameters to be estimated should be ideally between 5:1 to 20:1. So if we have a path model with 30 parameters to be estimated, we require a sample size between 150 to 600. The quality of data is also a factor that impacts the sample size. If we have a non-normal data, we require larger sample size. So these are the things we need to keep in mind when we are running a SEM analysis. So far we have talked about the basic concepts in SEM, uses of SEM and different types of SEM models. In the next lecture we will be looking at the major steps to run a confirmatory factor analysis. If you are looking for an online SEM training or support, please contact us at admin@pytutors.com.